Imagine being shown a game that looks like it could completely change gaming. You've got BioWare, you've got a massive sci-fi world, you've got flying Iron Man style suits, 4-player co-op, loot, exploration, and a huge, incredible world. And then a few years later, you're watching the servers get switched off. That's Anthem. And if that's not enough disappointment for one episode, we're also going to talk about EA being bought out for $55 billion. Is this the beginning of a new era for EA, or the beginning of something we should be worried about?
Level up, power on the mics alive today. WildStarGaming's here to cut the hype away. Real reviews, real games, real tech we trust. No clickbait, no nonsense. Just gamers being us. WildStar Gaming! Join the conversation. Honest views and hands-on gaming every generation. From launch day wins to patch day pain, we'll tell it like we see. WildStar Gaming, powered by the community.
Welcome to WildStar Gaming, the Gamers Podcast. Real games, real tech, real reviews. This is our second episode. I'm Andy. I'm the Creative Operations Lead here at WildStar Gaming. I'm here as always with Frankie.
Hello, everyone.
Frankie is our founder and our editorial lead. And I'm here with James.
Hello, hello.
James is our editorial goblin. So James, as always, will be filtering this out, making us sound lovely and removing anything that we're not allowed to say. So today we've got a pretty packed episode. We're going to be talking about the games that promise us the world and then absolutely let us down. We're going to be getting into one of gaming's biggest stories of late, which is EA's $55 billion takeover. We've got our usual remaster, remake, reboot, some ridiculous true or false questions, and of course then we'll end it with the save file. But before we get into all of that, just want to take a moment to talk about one of our WildStar Gaming partners, and that is Safe in Our World. So we spend a lot of time talking about games, arguing about games, occasionally questioning why we still play some of them, but it's worth remembering that gaming is ultimately about people. Safe in Our World does some really important work around mental health in gaming, helping people to talk more openly about mental health and providing resources and support for people who might be struggling. So whether you're a player, a streamer, a developer, a content creator, or simply someone who enjoys gaming, looking after your mental health matters. You don't have to be going through a crisis to look after your mental health. We're really pleased to have Safe in Our World working with WildStar Gaming, and we genuinely encourage you to check them out. We'll put the details in the links in the show notes, so please take a look and see what they're doing. Gaming should be a place where we can connect, have fun and be ourselves. Right, that's now the serious bit out of the way. Let's talk about the games that absolutely broke our hearts. My biggest gaming disappointment isn't necessarily and isn't the worst game I've ever played. It's the game where you look at it and you look at what could have been, and you think, well, how the hell did we get from that to what we actually got? And for me, that's Anthem. It wasn't just another shooter. It was BioWare making a Destiny-style game with Iron Man-style flight. I was absolutely sold. So
it was so cool.
Oh, it was so cool.
Such a good concept.
It really was. So, I mean, guys, I'll start with you, James. What did you think Anthem was going to be when you first saw it?
Look, for me, we were sold a power fantasy. Being able to fly around a vast open world in an Iron Man-style mech suit. Come on, who doesn't want to do that? I mean, it's a gamer's dream, right? I mean, just a mech suit that you can fly around in. And I was hoping that it was going to be very much like a Destiny-style game with loot and ongoing content, and most importantly, lots and lots of mech suits to fly around in.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the weird things why it failed. That one of the weirdest things about Anthem is that the thing everyone remembers is how brilliant the flying was, because it was brilliant. It was probably the best bit.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, I mean, how many games have you played where one mechanic is that good? You immediately think, right, let's build the entire game around this one mechanic.
There aren't really that many other ones that I can think of. I mean, you know, Destiny obviously is famous for its gunplay, and Anthem could have been that for like its traversal and like freedom of flight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just the launching into the air and the boosting, the diving, the water cooling, the transitions.
The worlds, like the worlds around it was superb, and you think, oh, this could have.
I think that's exactly that, Frankie. The reveal of the game, I think, sold everyone on the fantasy of it before you were sold on the actual game.
Yeah, I totally forgot about You know, to skim across the surface of the
water. Yeah, exactly that. The way that your suit interacted with the environment and the scale of it, and the way that the javelins fitted into the natural world, it had so much scope, but it just kind of came kind of shoot, loot, repeat. I think my disappointment is what happened with it. I've played bad games and just forgotten them. But Anthem is one where you can, even now, you can still see that literally there is an amazing game and an amazing game world, like right there. The flying was incredible. The world looked incredible. The concept was incredible. But somehow we ended up with a finished game that couldn't survive long enough to even start to become what it should have been.
Did you call it finished? Was it ever really finished?
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think, you know, my question to you guys would be, if EA gave you Anthem today, unlimited money in 5 years to build it, what would you keep?
The flight.
Yeah. Well, that and the worlds and everything.
So almost
was fine.
So almost the actual structure of the game.
I would mostly keep a lot of what they already had in there. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why they would need to change a lot of it. Most of it worked well.
What do you think went wrong? Do you think it was the fact? I mean, for me, I think it was probably the missions were repetitive. The loot had some issues. There wasn't really any end game, and a game like that, people need to feel powerful.
There wasn't really any game. I think that was the biggest problem. Was it almost played like a demo? The whole game almost played like a demo,
exactly,
or a beta test.
Yeah, it was. There wasn't. It wasn't lacking potential. The potential was enormous. Probably the most potential, I think, of any game that I can think of in recent history. The problem was there was no real game around the potential. It had almost like a live service structure, but without enough content to begin sustaining it.
Yeah, I think once the social media side got on top, once the bad reviews and the bad, like everyone started talking crap about it, I think it just got too much for them, and they kind of pulled the plug so early where they could have stuck with it. And
I think it was the disappointment that really crushed a lot of people, because it was such a promising looking game, and from early play you were like, wow, this feels really good. I mean, there was real impact to the way that the mech suits, the way that you controlled them, the way they felt, the way they interacted with the world. It gave them a real sense of being a powerful suit that you were wearing. And I think that made it all the worse when a lot of the rest of the game was a huge letdown.
Yeah.
Did they do the same as what they've done in Destiny? They kind of gave everyone what they wanted near the end and then just turned it off? Or did they just literally just turn it off?
No, all they did was keep promising Anthem 2.0 for years and years after Anthem had already failed. Don't worry, guys, it's coming. We're rebooting it. We're doing it all again. We're overhauling the whole thing. And then eventually, oh, wait, no, we're actually pulling the plug.
Yeah, and I think that's why that will probably always be my biggest disappointment, because it had everything that I like in a game. You know, a sci-fi world, a big world, an ongoing kind of live service world, shooting, because, you know, that's my thing, shooters. And then it went from, you know, this could be one of the biggest games in the world ever, to you got until January to play it because then we're going to turn the lights off, which is just absolutely nuts. But that's the way it went. So that is why Anthem is and will probably always be, I think, my biggest disappointment.
That is a good one.
And I think, again, it's why it's interesting, because it's not necessarily a story about a bad game. It's more about expectations. You know, the trailers, the demos, the marketing, the hype, and how people build games up in their heads, and how maybe gamers are sometimes partly responsible for disappointment, because we build a game up before we've even played it based on the fantasy that the developers and the publishers sell us. So I guess a question for you guys and for our listeners is, what is worse? Is it a genuinely terrible game, or a game that's pretty good but nowhere near what you thought it was going to be? That's mine. James, what's yours?
Well, as you both know, I'm a massive RPG gamer, and mine is Final Fantasy 13. When I was younger, many years ago, I was a huge fan of Final Fantasy 7. Many. Huge fan of Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10 to somewhat of a lesser extent. But later on in life, I revisited it and it hooked me. Obviously, the online 11, 12, and then 13 came along. And from all of the trailers, everyone was thinking, this is it. This is a genuine leap forwards in terms of graphical fidelity, sort of like the world building that Square Enix was so well known for in their Final Fantasy game, being brought into the modern era. And then it came out, and it was nothing that anyone who was a long-time Final Fantasy fan was expecting. It was extremely linear. For about 20 to 25 hours, you were basically walking down one singular hallway. JRPGs are guilty of this a lot of the time anyway, but this was even worse. It was so jargon-heavy, with no explanation of what anything meant, that you needed to study the game for like a doctorate in order to understand it at all. The characters were flat and boring. Combat system was, quite frankly, terrible because you could only control the lead character in any given party. The rest were controlled by AI that weren't very good. And if the party leader fell in battle, it was game over. You couldn't switch to a different character or anything like that.
Do you think so? I mean, you said about it. I remember that game again. I was kind of disappointed with it as well. It was brutally linear, like you just said. It was, walk forward, have a fight, watch a cutscene. Walk forward, have a fight, watch a cutscene. But then, what I remember is once you eventually reached what was it called, Grand Pulse, all of a sudden you're thinking, well, hold on a minute, what have I just been doing for the last 30 hours?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, and unfortunately, if it takes 20 to 30 hours for a game to actually get good,
most people would have stopped by that point.
Most people would have stopped long before then.
A lot of dedication.
So that's a similar kind of, it's got similar symptoms to Anthem, isn't it? Obviously, very different game, very different mechanics, but similar symptoms in
I think, again, it's very much about the hype, isn't it? Because if you look
at how it's delivered.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at sort of the games that came before it, so obviously 7, 8, and 9 were very old games. The graphics were now extremely dated. 10 was a little bit more up to date. Then you had 11, which was online. 12, which somehow took a step back and looked worse than 10. And then you saw the trailers and the actual gameplay footage for 13, and you thought, look at that. I mean, at the time, it was absolutely incredible. It was like, they've done it again. Square Enix have been known for pushing the bar higher in terms of sort of like graphical fidelity in their games and like their cutscenes as well and things like that. And you saw all of the trailers and initial gameplay footage and thought, this is it. This is going to be absolutely incredible.
Good PR.
Great PR.
Do you think it moved? Do you think it moved too far away from Square Enix's kind of tried and tested method of combat? Because for me, what I remember about that is for a big chunk of the game, it felt like all I was doing was pressing auto battle and then watching lightning do cool stuff.
Yeah, and the visuals were very flashy, but there was little to no gameplay in those visuals. I mean, people that played Final Fantasy XII probably were more familiar with that because Final Fantasy XII had a similar system where you could like set up the way battles would go before they happened, and they would sort of play themselves out with very little interaction from you. But that was more of a tactical thing. This was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like you were watching the battles rather than participating in.
Yeah, exactly that. But I think that is inherently almost a highlight of what I think went wrong with that whole game, or what went right for some people perhaps, is that you said it a minute ago, 13 looked incredible. Everything about the CGI, the environments, the character models, the summons were amazing. The soundtrack was good. Everything visually about it screamed like, next-gen Final Fantasy. But underneath, the gameplay was actually really restrictive and it didn't match the visuals.
It sort of signalled a leap as well after that, if you think about the next single-player Final Fantasy game that was released, which was 15. They took that in a completely different direction, but stepping well away from the old turn-based systems and more into the sort of action gameplay things. So you had like 15 and 16 were both incredibly like action-oriented games, and I think the people that really fell in love with the older turn-based systems.
Yeah.
13 sort of signalled an end to that for them.
Are they ever going to stop making Final Fantasy?
Not as long as it keeps making money, no.
No, no, exactly that. Yeah, I think the thing with 13 is, and my question to everyone would be, if Grand Pulse had been in the first, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours of 13 instead of the last third, would we all remember it differently?
Most likely, for me, I think so.
So there we are. It's a good choice, James. Good choice. I think there's probably a lot of people will agree with you. Frankie, what's yours?
So I'm going with the game Too Human, released in 2008 on the 360. This was the game that made me feel, yes, I'm going to buy a 360. Came out a couple of years before, and I was like, yeah, this is it. The trailers to it. Again, we got suckered in, I think, in my point of view, just got suckered in for the hype around it. It just looked like that next gen. It looked so fresh and new that just made me think, yeah, I'm sticking with Xbox. I'm invested. This is the game I'm gonna build around and everything. Yeah. And then it came out and I was so disappointed.
I mean, it's been a while, but do you remember the history about it? Do you remember what's kind of triggered that disappointment? So
I knew there was more to it than just.
Well, so the hype was it was massive. It was never meant to be a 360 game. I think Silicon Knights had been working on it for 10 years. It was originally announced, I think, James, with PlayStation, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Oh God, eons ago.
The game is controversial.
Yeah.
For many reasons. Like, it was originally intended to be a trilogy.
Yes.
There were multiple lawsuits around the game. Apparently, there was allegations of stolen code from Epic, and Silicon Knights ended up suing Epic, and they lost twice, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was a whole mess, complete and utter mess.
But I vehemently disagree with you, Frankie. I loved Too Human. I did. I loved Too Human. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect game, but what was there for me was so engaging and so promising, especially before we knew that it wasn't going to be getting sequels, setting up the trilogy, that I absolutely fell in love with that game.
So, see, for me, it was that first game I wanted to believe in. It was the first game I would have... you kind of got suckered into that promise of what it could look like and what it could be. The camera view was so annoying. I remember that. The frame rates were always cutting out. It was a buggy audio mess. 1 minute you'd be playing and there'd be sound, and
I can't disagree with you either.
Yeah, and it was just so weird. Even when you died and come back, you had to wait an eternity for that to load.
The infamous death animation. Into
my God, it was
do you know
nightmare.
What you just said about it? That I really wanted to like that game because it's got almost all of the ingredients that I love in a game.
Yeah, a bit like what you said about with Anthem. That was my first bit of, and then obviously invested into the 360 and not going on the PlayStation side and staying with Xbox, and it was everything that this is what I would have loved the game to be, and it just was. Yes, I know we had our fun bits, and I think I remember it was, you could play it as a co-op, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
We
myself, you, James, yeah, I think we have played this. I'm just trying to think, but I'm pretty sure that I've played these games with you, and it was just, what a buggy mess and a bit of a letdown back then. Now it probably be all right.
I'm kind of on the fence with this one. Like I say, ingredients wise, it had everything that ticks my boxes, and then the combat I thought was brilliant, incredibly weird, but brilliant.
You had to use the right stick, weren't it? You had to do something weird.
Twin-stick shooter, yeah.
Twin-stick
shooter melee combat.
Yeah, when it worked, it was fluffing brilliant. You could fly around the battlefield, killing people left and right like an angry cybernetic Norse god. But when it didn't work, it was truly awful. Yes. You could launch yourself into the wrong bloody direction. You're trying to hit something behind you, and the camera's crap, and then there's enemies around you, and you're thinking, what am I actually doing? And And then, James mentioned earlier, that sodding Valkyrie, death was genuinely annoying. It didn't just mean okay, I'm dead now, so I'm going to go to the checkpoint and try again. You'd have to sit through that entire death sequence every single time.
Yes.
Every single time. And you couldn't. It was
over 20 to 30 seconds. It was just so long.
Yeah, and you couldn't skip it. Even if it was the 100th time, you couldn't skip it. Just, yeah. And for me, I think the loot just wasn't satisfying enough.
The thing is, I agree with everything you're all saying.
Yeah, but I played it and I kept on playing it. Yeah, and we kept on playing it. Yeah, I completed it a couple of times. I think I'm pretty sure I completed it with you.
About 4 times. Yeah, we played it together. Yeah. We played it with your brother.
Yeah. So, like I said, you still get drawn to it. You still play it, but they're still there. Them bugs are still there.
I still think the original premise of it, like Norse mythology, but it's the future. So you got Odin, Thor, Loki, cybernetic humans, Ragnarok, gods. I think it's wicked. But again, for that amount of hype, the graphics were a bit naff.
Yes, because I don't remember it to be. Yeah.
I know, but even by high 360 standards then, you look at, it already had games like Gears of War, Mass Effect, Bioshock, Assassin's Creed. Next to those, To Human look poor.
I think maybe I'm looking at it through rose-tinted glasses because I don't remember it being as bad as that. I mean,
I don't think it would have suffered. I think it would have been up to the kind of scratch it needed to be. You've already said about it. The development history was just an absolute farce. It was PlayStation, then it was GameCube, then it was something else, then it was bought. So it wasn't only delayed once. It went through multiple platforms. 10 years of development.
You got to think it killed Silicon Knights in the end, right?
I think it did.
Was that the game that
one
killed
of them.
Silicon Knights. I think so.
Yeah, you got to think the amount of times that changed platforms. Was it being rebuilt? I mean, I'm not a coder. I can code in HTML, but if you're switching platforms that many times, surely you can't use the same code.
Who knows? I mean, only the people that worked on the game could tell us that. So if you're out there and you hear this, let us know.
Let us know.
A bit more of a story behind it.
Anybody's got a bit of insight into coding like that, let us know the impact it would have on a project if you were switching platforms that many times.
I don't, especially back then, it wouldn't have been a copy and paste job because PlayStation, Sony, Nintendo were so different with their coding and the way they done stuff. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been that easy.
Yeah. But no, again, another good one. Really, really interesting ones there, and all kind of different angles and different reasons why we were.
I think there was one sort of consistent theme though, and that was hype. So the hype that was generated before the release compared to what we got when the game was released. And I think that is one of the things that can kill a game quicker than anything.
I agree. And I think that actually leads us into the next topic that reluctantly, on my perspective, we should cover. Leads into that quite nicely. And that's, I think, because behind almost every massive gaming disappointment, there is a business decision somewhere. So EA has now gone private. Now gone private following a $55 billion acquisition. It's been bought out by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, who are not new to the game industry. But it's a consortium with them and Silver Lake and some affinity partners. And it's not just a $55 billion check. I think there was something like $20 billion worth of debt.
Yeah, $20 billion of debt.
Which is, that's a lot. Why would anyone spend $55 billion buying EA?
They just love FIFA.
It's not FIFA anymore. It's not FIFA anymore. Also, in today's political climate, I wouldn't necessarily say you love FIFA either.
No, definitely not, especially today. Yeah,
it's a wild statement.
Yeah.
They want to buy the World Cup.
Do not represent the views of WildStarGaming.
I think objectively, I've got my own opinions about EA games, as have you, James, and as have you, Frankie, and I think we're mostly aligned. But if you're going to look at it objectively, so you're not buying a games company, you're buying one of the biggest collections of gaming IPs in the world. You've got EA Sports FC, Madden, Battlefield, Sims, Apex Legends, Need for Speed, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Star Wars properties now, Frostbite,
Formula 1.
They've got a development infrastructure, massive massive, huge global player base. So there's that, I think that's why you'd buy it. That's why you'd want to buy it if you were these people. Do we think there's going to be any positives from them becoming?
No.
Do we think that them going private is going to give EA the freedom to make better games?
No.
No way.
Not a chance.
No? You don't think maybe bigger investments, potentially giving studios more time, longer term planning?
Not with that 20 billion debt.
I'm trying to pick some
the
positives
20
here,
billion
people.
debt has been pinned on EA after acquisition, right? From what I understand. So there's one of two things. Man, there's one of two things that's happened, right? Either they've bought EA for 55 billion, they've pinned a load of debt on it, and they're going to liquidate it in a few years' time in order to write off that debt. That would be an extremely shady thing to do. And I'm not accusing anyone of doing that at all. But it's the sort of thing that has been done before in the past. And let's just say that some of the companies involved have a history of things like that.
You just heard it here first.
I mean, they didn't hear it here first. It's everywhere. On the other hand, the thing that I can see happening is they're going to keep the moneymakers. You're going to have the EA Sports FC, the Battlefield games,
Madden,
and maybe Madden. Yeah, Madden is still a reasonably big franchise, not as big as it used to be, but still.
They've got their esports, haven't they? Is that what you just said, James?
The esports
side to it and all that.
The EA Sports side of it, that'll stay. The Sims, I think they're still churning out multiple content for that.
Yeah.
Instead of making a new one, so I think that will stay. I think that Battlefield will obviously stay. And I think most other things are going to be either pushed to the side, there's going to be massive layoffs, studios are going to close, and IPs are going to either fade into obscurity or eventually be auctioned off to the highest bidder.
Well, we've seen IPs, what you would consider, long-standing IPs from EA already fade. Things like Burnout, SSX, Command and Conquer, SimCity, Dead Space, Mirror's Edge. That was actually quite unique, wasn't it, at the time? There's a couple of others, things like Skate and whatnot. They weren't what you would call flops, but they're gone. They're not franchises that EA have continued with. I mean, why aren't they making more games of these? So
did you see the Dead Space thing?
Yeah.
For the Dead Space thing, they projected how much it would cost to make a new Dead Space game and how much they would want the game to then gross.
Do you know my problem with all this when these publishers are projected? Who is getting that money? Because the salaries in gaming development, unless you're a CEO, and that's where we get into where it really winds me up, because it's almost like a closed market like football is. It's silly money that people throw around and it's unfounded. But these budgets they're throwing around, we'll mention it again, Destiny 3, I thought we need $350 million to make it. Why do you? The people making the game aren't being paid that. The marketing doesn't cost that much. Where's that money going? That might just be me being completely naive, and by all means, if anybody has a better insight, feel free to correct me. But it seems to me like gaming is almost becoming a closed market like football, where there are figures being spoken about and thrown around, but it's just not real money. It's just nonsense.
Everyone wants their share, so that's where you look at things just always go higher. And it depends where it's being made. Like to make a game over in Europe and compared to the USA is completely different. It'd be much cheaper to make it here, be much cheaper to make it Eastern European. A lot of devs are going over there now, but even with PR, depends obviously how much you want to spend, but people, they'll just keep taking and taking. And that's where someone has to say no, this is how much how much budget of any PR can take, how much this can take. There needs to be a lot more rules and regulations behind it instead of letting people just go wild.
You think there should be maximum budgets allowed for
Yeah, because then it controls everything instead of people just going absolutely just making a random number up.
Yeah, I think that would work. I mean, that ties into, I kind of mentioned about it last episode about, the really big developers having to every now and then pump some money into an indie game, because I don't see how we've got to a stage where that twit at the head of EA got paid as much as he did. Apparently based on the success of Battlefield, but the money that they paid him, I'm like, come on, no one person needs that amount of money.
Look, I might be wrong, and I most likely am wrong, quite often happens, but to me, it seems like EA is going to become a football and Battlefield machine that just churns out half-assed new versions year after year, and everything else is just going to go. And it saddens me that some of the IPs will probably never see the light of day again. And it also saddens me that some of the studios that we have held dear to us over the years, studios like BioWare, albeit, not so much in recent years, they've sort of fallen out of favour a little bit. But think about the games they made in the past, and think about the heritage and the history that they've created in video games. Can you really see BioWare surviving this?
I'd be very surprised.
That's the reality. My own personal take, I think, is very similar to yours, is that unfortunately private ownership doesn't mean, all right, let's make cool games now. It means, right, this investment needs to be profitable. If you've just spent $55 billion, are you going to let a studio spend 5 or 6 years making a weird $50 million game? You're not. Every project needs to be profitable. Every project needs to cut costs. It needs, monetization. You need to reduce the risks. You need to work with your established franchises. You haven't got the resources to make new ones. So unfortunately, I think that is exactly what is going to happen. It's going to be really cutthroat, and it's just going to mean more cuts and more things disappearing. More layoffs.
Seems like all that happens in the...
They will go, and then Respawn will stay, especially with the Star Wars stuff.
I don't know. It just seems like all that you hear about these days in the gaming industry is cuts and layoffs.
I think for me it's quite fascinating because EA has got a pretty big catalogue, things that you don't necessarily tie to EA because they're IPs that haven't been used in a while, but it's got a massive catalogue and enormous earning power. But with the amount of money involved, and particularly the debt attached to this, makes me nervous about what's going to happen to the creative side.
The thing is that for a long time, in order to recoup the money that they've spent on this takeover, they're going to play it safe. Going back to what we were saying in the last episode about is gaming being too safe these days, we're not going to see any risks from EA Studios like any time in the near future, because they're going to play it safe and they're going to try and make the money that they spent back, cancel out the debt before they even think about letting other IPs that EA owns or original IPs be explored.
Oh yeah, you're looking at least 10 years before they even think about, because the games in development now will stay, and they'll come out over the next 5-6 years, and then they'll start maybe thinking of stuff.
I think that we'll see a lot of cancellations. I don't think we're ever going to see another Mass Effect game now.
No, they'll sell that off. They'll sell BioWare. I think they'll sell that.
I don't think they'll sell BioWare. I think they'll liquidate it.
Liquidate it.
Maybe eventually the IP will change hands, but I don't think we'll see that. EA have not been known to let IPs go, even when they have no intention of doing anything with them. It's sort of like their whole thing. They've done it multiple times. They kill an IP and they never let it change hands.
Yep, it just dies.
Yeah, it's like the just in case we decide to make it one day, we're going to keep hold of this IP.
And keep it, yeah, exactly. Right, well, let's move away from billion-dollar acquisitions. It's not real world money for us. We'll see what happens.
Talking about all of that money, have you lot seen the Netflix with GTA being put on it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Vaguely. I mean, what is it, a trailer? Gameplay reveal?
I think gameplay trailer. Netflix has got their hands on it. And do you think that will be kind of the norm now, or do you just think that's going to be just a one-off just because it's so big?
I think we'll see more of it. I think now Netflix have done it. I think you'll see Prime, you'll see Apple, you'll see people wanting to get on board with it.
What would be the next game after that? After GTA, though.
Well, I mean, who knows? It depends whether it's a one-off.
Worth it?
It's arguably the biggest gaming release in gaming history, so it might just be a one-off. We'll see. I'm hoping that doesn't open the floodgates, because that'd be annoying.
Do you reckon people will then buy Netflix for it?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I
I do.
God, no. No, nobody's
I
that
actually
silly, are
do.
they?
Yeah, sure they are. What, GTA fans?
Yeah,
I
true.
don't mean to I don't mean it like that, but what I mean is some people are frothing at the. They cannot wait, and they think it's going to be the greatest game ever made. And sure, it's definitely going to be the biggest game ever released, and it's probably going to make the most money out of any game ever released. And there are going to be people that go, "Oh, got to see this, got to do this." There'll be some. Won't be us, but there will be some.
Yeah.
I've got concerns about the whole GTA thing anyway.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, so
I think
I'll
that's
reserve
a topic for
judgment.
another episode.
Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah, and we've touched on it before. I'm not really looking. I'm not really fussed about the single player. We'll see what happens when the multiplayer is released.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's move away from that, and we're going to back to something the gamers love arguing about, which is bringing old games back. So this is our usual segment of remaster, remake, and reboot. So usual kind of format. You guys pick a game. You need to pick whether it's a remaster, a remake, or a reboot. Kind of give us a little bit of a lowdown on what the game was originally for people that don't know. And we'll go from there. So, Frankie, I'm going to start with yours.
So my one is Dino Crisis. Full remake,
Resident
though.
Evil with dinosaurs.
Technically, yes. Can't go wrong. Resident Evil, dinosaurs. It's just the way it needs to be.
Haven't we been promised a Dino Crisis?
Yeah, I was just going to say
for
it's always on the highest. So when they talk about it on the fan zones and everything, Dino Crisis is always there. But yeah, it's just never. The technology's there now. Everything's there to make it a whole brand new remake. So that would be mine. Dino Crisis, put it back up to the modern age of gaming.
Why though, Frankie? Why does it deserve it?
It's another game when we say buying on a PlayStation. It was I think especially the love of dinosaurs as well. I think, but no, it's just such a great game. It drew me in. I think it's got the fans. It's got the people. I preferred that than what you said to Resident Evil. I kind of preferred that kind of game, and especially a bit with the puzzles and everything else you could do. Just drawed me in a bit more, and I feel that a new remake would just be great this time, and I think it would sell bucket
the team
loads.
behind Resident Evil were the ones that originally made it, right? The team
I think
that
they
were
were
part
of it.
Evil.
Yes,
it was the same. Yeah.
I think they were.
And they're flying high right now, surely, because by all accounts, the latest Resident Evil was a huge hit, right?
Yeah. And Capcom, I reckon they could definitely, they've been doing really well with their stuff recently. So,
every single year, year after year, you hear, guys, there's a Dino Crisis remake coming. Capcom have never announced that there's one even being worked on, but it's a persistent rumor that never really dies.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Again, as Frankie said, I think it would probably have enough fans out there that would buy it.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a bad choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
James, what's your one?
Well, we're trying to move away from it, but I'm going to bring us right back to it again because mine
Fortnite
is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
what a good game.
So what a game! BioWare, Star Wars RPG, grandfather of Mass Effect. Incredibly janky, let's face it, and the sequel also was not really ever finished, and it was left down to the fans to sort of finish that game. It was one of the games, I think, that really made me sit up and take notice. Oh, this is what gaming can do. And for me, it would have to be maybe a remaster, because I'd like them to just bring the graphics up to modern day standards.
Yeah, I think a remaster will work quite well. It had
smooth it, polish it out, but keep everything else the same. Because
keep everything the same, yeah.
That game was absolutely incredible.
Oh, it was. The choice system, and again, there's another huge BioWare thing, but the companions,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't just generic kind of followers. You'd get actual characters, and they'd have, you know, dialogue and personalities, and some of them really kind of memorable, and your decisions kind of actually sort of affected your relationships with them
massively. I mean, the whole sort of karma system that is in a lot of video games these days, albeit not so much recently, you don't see it a lot, but that sort of era of games where you had the choices to be made, and it would result in your character taking a darker path or taking the higher ground and sort of like staying on the light side. I mean, especially when it comes to Star Wars, what better franchise to represent the karma system in a game than Star Wars with the Force and the dark side? Let's just face it, it spoke to the massive nerd in me, but for me, it's up there with one of the best games I've ever played.
I would concur. And I mean, to be fair, you can still play it now.
You can still play it.
Yeah,
now.
I think it's on the Switch and everything. Yeah,
more sort of like recently. Even the second one. I mean, like the sequel was not as good as the first one, and it was kind of never finished. And there was fan patches and mods and things that you could do to actually make the game playable all the way through and have a proper ending and stuff like that. But
was the second one done by a different team?
Not sure.
I don't know.
I didn't really play the second one. Okay, yeah, right. It's a good one, James. I'm always happy anything Star Wars. Mine, I think, same as last time. Mine is the best by far.
Oh, come.
So mine. No, you'll see exactly why in a minute. You'll see why in a minute. Mine is Prototype.
Rubbish.
Yeah, boo. Terrible. No one wants that.
No, so you know that's a good one.
Oh, come on, man.
Prototype was awesome. It had
Prototype
so many.
Was amazing, yeah.
It was, exactly. See, I keep coming up with the best stuff. So for me, it would have to be a remake. You'd keep all the original things that made it really cool and groundbreaking. So I think one of the biggest things about that game was the power fantasy. So you weren't just a normal soldier, you're like a superhero who kind of has to, you know, like a walking biological apocalypse. You could do everything. You could run up buildings, you could jump huge distances, you could glide across the city, you could eat people, you could shapeshift, you could, you know, transform his arms into weapons, you could regenerate, you could throw cars, you could do anything and everything. You could rip through tanks, you could hijack a helicopter. And you could do that whenever you wanted. Literally, the entirety, I think it was New York, wasn't it, was your playground. So the entire premise around that game was just something that hadn't been done before. The idea of it about, you know, the blacklight virus, the fact that he can consume people, and when he does, he can consume their memories and their appearance, their knowledge, their identity. So you can walk up to somebody, consume them, and become them. It had like an investigation system, which I think could be massively expanded in a remake. So you hunt people that are connected to the outbreak, you find targets, you consume them, you receive fragments of their memories, you can gradually piece together what's happened. So it's basically like an Assassin's Creed investigation, body horror, superhero sandbox, do anything you want.
I've actually never played it.
You
never played Prototype?
Nope. And I was waiting for a break to say I've never played that. Never played it. There's a couple of them. I'm now looking into it thinking, oh yeah, and there's like they've got 2 and 3 as well. Never played it.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Is it worth going back to though?
Oh, 100%.
Prototype was amazing, yeah, and begrudgingly, I'll admit that this time I think Andy takes the cake with his choice.
But yeah, I think a remake, it doesn't need to change many things. A lot of it was right. All the crazy things you could do, you know, include all that, but just make it kind of bigger and better. I mean, again, this goes back to what I was saying about people kind of taking things for granted. I mean, that entire city reacted to you.
Yeah.
The outbreak would get worse. The environment would change. The military presence would increase. You'd see more infected on the streets. Certain areas you couldn't, you know, get through normally. You could trigger massive battles between the military and the infected. Sometimes I'd just stand on top of a building and look, holy crap, I did that. Like that's cool. That's really cool. And to me, that's what gaming should be about. I think it has got a big following of people that really appreciate that game. I think the only thing that overshadowed it slightly, it released about the same time as Infamous, didn't it? I think Prototype was a better game, but Infamous got more coverage. And I think...
Oh, that's a bold statement there.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's mine. I'll make myself a
good choice again.
I'll make myself a little trophy. Actually, no, you guys can make me a trophy. I expect handwritten medals.
Yeah, you can come back tomorrow.
I'm making a milk bottle lid.
I'm going to HR. I'm not happy about this.
Told you, join the queue.
Yeah, I've already
Oh, okay, right. So now it's time for true or false. This is where Andy, me, will give you 3 crazy stories that are gaming related. They could all be true. None of them could be true. It is up to you to tell me which you think are and which you think aren't.
Can I just say I love this part?
Well, only because you got it right last week.
I got all of them right last week.
Yeah.
This is true.
Where's
this
my
is true.
trophy?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you each scenario, and then I want each of your answers for each one first, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the first story is a group of former Xbox developers have announced a new co-op game where up to 6 players become students whose main objective is to cause as much chaos as possible at school. Your missions involve things like setting traps and taking dares and deliberately giving yourself injuries that can land you in hospital. Is that true or false? James?
True.
Frankie?
I'm going with true as well.
You are both correct. This is a game called Hijinks High, which has been announced by Sackbird Studios, which is a team formed by former ZeniMax Online developers. It's a co-op school-based, it's a co-op school-based chaos game with up to 6 players, with missions involving pranks, dares, and deliberately causing mayhem.
Was this? I actually think that when you were describing it, it rang a bell for me because I remember reading an article recently that said there was a new game and it compared it to basically Bully.
Bully, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. As I was reading that, I was thinking, it reminds me of
like
Bully.
A co-op Bully.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is a new co-op game from the developers behind Mouthwashing. Puts players inside a tank where each player controls a different part of the vehicle. But the catch is that the crew can actually see each other physically operating the machinery in real time. True or false?
Wait, what?
Yeah, go on. Explain that one again, because
So
I'm going with true, but I'm going to have a look
new
at this.
co-op game from the developers behind Mouthwashing puts players inside a tank where each player controls a different part of the vehicle. But the catch is that the crew can actually see each other physically operating the machinery in real time.
I don't understand the concept of being able to see each other operate in the...
It's so wild, I'm going to say true.
I'm going to say true, mainly because,
I want to see this at work.
I'm not quite understanding the...
Yeah, so it's true. The real game is called Carcass Clad, which is a co-op tank game from Wrong Organ, which is a developer behind Mouthwashing. Players operate different sections of the tank, and they have to communicate with one another to survive. But the specific, basically, the tank physically falls apart if someone abandons their station. So it's half true, half false.
I'd still go with true.
Can't do that.
The game's not called half true, half false.
I can. This is my section.
Up as you go along.
I can do anything I want. I am the game master.
Oh, we all know what happened to him last.
I mean, that's why it didn't make any sense, because you made it up. I am actually now looking at this game, Carcass Clad, and it is kind of what you said. Like, each part of the tank does need to be operated separately.
Yeah.
But the thing that you said made no sense and threw me off. It was a red herring, but we still got you.
It was a red herring. Okay, final one. Concerned Ape has announced that the next major Stardew Valley update is going to introduce a fully 3D mode. allowing players to switch. So obviously currently it's 2D. They'll be able to switch between 2D and first-person 3D version in Pelican Town.
False.
Yeah, I'm going with false.
It is indeed false.
You got to
so
get
good.
up much earlier to
But you
catch
did.
us.
But
You got to make it up, Andy.
You believed me for a second, didn't you?
No.
No, not for that one. Yeah,
Well,
not for that one.
there has been a recent discussion around what Stardew Valley might look like in 3D.
I mean, I'm sure there has, but it doesn't mean that they're going to do it. So
true.
far,
I
you haven't managed to catch me.
I don't often play. I played it a little bit, but I'm not sure I like the concept of looking at my Stardew Valley neighbour directly in the eyes while I'm trying to work out why I've spent 400 hours watering parsnips. So I
silently judging you.
Yeah, the silent judgment. I'm not sure that's something I'd want to get involved in.
All you need then is for the NPC to turn around to you and go, "You're wasting your life. What are you doing? Go out there and grow some real parsnips.
Get out more.
Contribute to society."
Okay. So I think we're almost at the end, but before we do finish, we want to kind of talk to you guys. So what's the this is the listeners and the viewers. What's the biggest gaming disappointment you've ever experienced? And if you owned EA tomorrow, would you bring one of their dead IPs back? Let us know in the comments on our socials or wherever you're listening to the podcast. We'll pick out some of your answers and we'll bring them into a future episode. So finally, it's time for our save file, which is a little section where we kind of talk about one thing we've discovered this week that deserves saving. That could be anything. It could be a game, hardware, a developer, a gaming story, some tech, whatever it is. And I'll start with you, James.
So I just want to take this opportunity to talk about a game that I was reviewing recently for the website, a game called Riftstorm. And actually, Andy, you played this game with me.
I did indeed.
And I have to say that so far this year, that game has been one of the biggest gaming surprises for me.
Well, that's good.
I didn't say it was positive.
No. I did read your review. It was. You said
it was.
I feel a bit jealous, actually, because it did look like it did look pretty cool.
It was really good, yeah. I mean, so I will be the first to admit, I looked at that game when we received the review code for it and thought, okay, it looks like it could be all right. It's sort of another isometric shooter game, the bullet hell genre and things like that. You see quite a lot of them these days. But the more I played that game, the more I was hooked. And it's an early access game. Well, by the time this episode is released, it will be available in early access. And I would urge anybody that likes looter shooters or the twin stick shooter style of game, isometric view games like Diablo and things like that, give it a go, because it is a game that I think will surprise you.
Yeah, I agree. I think, we played that co-op and it was genuinely fun. Okay, that's a good one, James. I'm going to, I think, start introducing my personal save files as movements. So my save file this week is it's a movement, like a mantra. I'm going to save a phrase this week, which is, I'll just do one more mission. Because it has never meant one more mission. It means suddenly it's 2:47 in the morning. I've eaten an entire packet of biscuits. My character's now carrying 37 weapons I didn't need. And I've somehow started a side quest involving a farmer's missing bloody goat. So I'm going to save just one more mission because apparently I'm incapable of learning.
I think that applies to all of us, right?
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Just one more. It's fine.
It's fine.
One more mission, and then I'll log off. I'll go to bed at a reasonable time tonight. One more mission.
Yeah. Mine's like just half an hour, and I'll be off and everything, and then an hour and a half later, you haven't even done what you wanted even to do in the first place.
Well, that's where you're going wrong. You're doing it in half-hour segments. You can't do it in half-hour segments.
Rookie error right there.
Another rookie error, mate. It's learning.
Frankie, what's your save file?
My save file for the week has definitely been we went away, me and my partner, for the week, as I was doing a few bits.
I'm not
for the
sure where
website.
he's going with this.
Yeah. Don't shut up.
This is a
family show.
podcast.
Family show, Frankie.
Not that kind of podcast.
That's another one.
Yeah. If you've saved that, that's up to you.
yeah. We just don't want to know about it. No, we were doing a bit of. I was doing a bit of work for the site, and it come up saying that you guys are online and you were playing. That is it, Senra, the game that you were doing. You were reviewing for us.
Sonara, yeah.
Sonara. And watching you guys playing it, and it just brought back a lot of memories of watching and playing with you guys, and having such a laugh. The game's quite a scary game. It was very funny hearing us all together watching and kind of play. I know you had the controls, Andy, and you were doing everything, but it was very good, and it did bring back a lot of memories, or a lot of fun memories of playing with you guys. And like my partner she's not a gamer, but she actually enjoyed it. She actually was laughing away with the way we were reacting to it as well. So it was really good, and that's definitely a good memory, which I'll definitely keep.
I think that was a little bit too heartfelt and emotional. I was nearly crying.
Yeah. Crikey, Frankie, you get a bit sentimental in your old age.
No, it was good though. It did bring back memories. It was good, man. It was funny. And then hearing you at the end, he was like, shank him in the head. Just made it brilliant. And I know, like, we recorded so much more. We could only put so much actually on the website and with the social media sides to it. But it was definitely it was very funny. A load more.
A lot of that conversation was not fit for broadcast.
No, exactly.
Using humour to break the tension of the horror game.
It was very good. There were some expletives for sure. And that's it. That's it for this episode of WildStarGaming, the Gamers Podcast. So, I mean, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the WildStarGaming community. We've talked about disappointment. We've talked about $55 billion takeovers, games coming back from the dead. And somehow, throughout all of that, James has managed to not waffle for an entire 5 minutes.
Where's my medal?
Yeah, that's where that's what you really want. That's what the medal's for.
That's the real medal.
We will make you one. We will make you one. Yes. We'll be back next time with more real games, real tech, real reviews, real chats. Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for listening.
That's our show. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week on WildStar Gaming.